There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You got to have big balls to get inside the square circle and to fight bare knuckle fighting.
How did you recover after hitting rock bottom?
On a bridge, I was going to kill myself, and the easiest thing I could have done there was to jump off the bridge. 7 years ago, people would have thought I was smoking crack. We are going to see Conor McGregor fight again. I've been punched in my face. I've been knocked down. I've been almost to the end of my life. Why not teach you guys how to walk past me, and you guys lead the next generation?
Yeah.
Society tells you need to go to college because then you're going to get a job. Plan B is plan A. There is no plan B. I could get a lot of lashback for what I'm about to say here, man, but that took balls for you to ask me. My name is David Feldman. I'm the founder and president of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, what most considered the fastest growing combat sport in the world now. Just really love what we're doing, putting on great fights all over the world, getting a lot of fans all over the world, and just building this thing into a monster. And very, very happy to be here in Florence, Italy, where the real gladiators are from. And now, we bring the modern day gladiators here, and very, very exciting time to be in combat sports. A very, very exciting time for BKFC.
Happy to have you. Before BKFC, you had a successful career promoting boxing. What made you take the risk and do something so controversial such as BKFC?
Promoting boxing, it was good. I've been in combat sports really my whole life. My dad trained 7 world champions. I was a professional boxer. My brother was. We trained fighters. We've been in boxing my whole life, and it was a good thing, promoting good shows, putting on some good fights, having some good partnerships with some major promoters. I partnered with almost every major promoter in the world, did a lot of fights on television, but I never really had anything that was getting the interest that could be like my own lane, right? Like, we were helping people with boxing, but we weren't boxing. We were helping people with mixed martial arts, but we weren't mixed martial arts. We are bare knuckle fighting. BKFC, we're bare knuckle fighting. There's a lot of other promotions in the world, but we are bare knuckle fighting. We created our own lane. We created something fun, something exciting, and more importantly, something relatable, because bare knuckle fighting is relatable to everybody in the world. So because of that, I think we put ourselves in a fantastic position. But that's why I really transitioned over, was really just to create my own lane and be able to build something myself.
Amazing, man. And I wanted to ask you, what was the single hardest moment you faced while trying to legitimize bare knuckle boxing?
I mean, there's just number one thing was change of perception, right? When I first started this thing and first announced it, the perception to everybody was like it was a brutal, barbaric bloodbath. It was a street fight. It was a backyard fight. It was a bar fight. It wasn't anything like what we're doing. So changing people's mind, changing the perception of what people had, that was probably the biggest thing that we've had to do. And just fighting through all the no's.
Cool.
About that, what about the legal side of bare knuckle boxing, as you're not wearing gloves?
Well, I think it was again changing perception, because at the beginning I was trying to pitch this on, it's safer, it's not as dangerous, it's fun and it's exciting, but it doesn't have the concussive and subconcussive damage. It doesn't have the facial fractures. It doesn't have the handbrakes. It does have more cuts. So I had to change the perception, because as a commissioner, imagine me going to a commissioner without ever doing a bare knuckle fight before and telling him it's safer, and he looks at me like I got 3 heads and I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, why it's easier is we have data. We have data from 7 years of doing this that now proves our case that we do not have as many injuries as boxing or MMA.
Yeah, I guess from the outside perspective, someone who just sees the cuts and bruises sees bare knuckle boxing as more dangerous, whereas boxing, you're not getting as many cuts and damage to the skin on your face, but your brain is taking more harsh impact.
Sure, no, absolutely. I mean, and that's just like the regular person. The first thing I say is there's not as many injuries, and it's weird, because now I'm getting more people to go, yeah, that makes sense. But before it was like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. There's no way. And now because of the data that we have, it's easy for us to get legal, to get regulated, to have more and more countries, more and more states in the United States say yes to us because we do have the data. Data is the most important thing, right? Like, I can argue with your opinion. I can argue with your opinion. You might like it. You might think it's too brutal. You might think it's not that brutal. We can argue. But when I show you data, we can't argue that. It's real.
You can't argue with facts. That's
Can't
true.
argue the facts.
And like you said, we're in Italy where gladiators were a thing back in the days, and you are now bringing it back. What do you think separates these fighters from other combat sports fighters like in MMA and boxing?
Like, very, very honestly, one simple answer. I think these fighters have more balls than any other fighters in the world because it's different. It's a sport, but it's a fight. This is a real fight, right? Like boxing, again, you can dance, you can move around, you can hold. You are getting cracked, though. You are getting cracked, but you're getting cracked with gloves on. MMA, you can stall. You can hold a guy. You can do different things to delay actually really banging it out. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You got to have big balls to get inside the squared circle and to fight bare knuckle fighting. And I take my hat off to any single fighter that's ever stepped inside of this ring and any fighter that ever will, because it's no joke. This is no joke. This is as real as it gets.
What was the defining moment when you realized BKFC would take off like it has?
There was a couple turns. Obviously just getting regulated the first time was a big thing for us because I had so many false starts. I would get a yes from the commission, and then I would go back and tell my team, yeah, man, we're legal. This is awesome. We're going to do it. And then 2 weeks later, we get a call from that commission and say, we can't allow it. We can't allow it. So that was the first one. The second one was we did a big fight between Irish guy, Artem Lobov, taking on Paulie Malignaggi, former boxing world champion. That was another one when people started taking us a little more seriously because they saw we were getting bigger and better names and former world champions. And then there's a bunch of other real turning events. But I mean, right now we're on, like, I think 17 or 18 straight sellouts. We're selling out everywhere we go. Our viewership is second to nobody. There's nobody in the world in combat sports that does more live viewership than us. So I think that's a big turning point as well. There's not one specific spot, right, where I said, this is it. It was just a culmination. But I really feel like coming here and having fighters from all over the world fight here and all their camps going, hey, I want to bring it here. I want to bring it to Austria. I wanted to bring it to Czech Republic. I want to bring it to Germany. All that stuff really means a lot in the growth of bare knuckle fighting.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I wanted to ask you, because obviously it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. When you started off, there was risks that you had to take and there were problems that you faced. So how did you recover after hitting rock bottom?
It was when I hit rock bottom back in 2016. It was a point in my life where everything was going against me, and the easiest thing I could have done there was I don't know if you know the story, but I was actually on a bridge. I was going to kill myself, and the easiest thing I could have done there was to jump off the bridge. And the hardest thing to do was to fight back and say, this isn't where my story ends. This isn't where my story should end, and keep fighting and keep pushing forward. That's when it happened, and why it happened was really because so many people go through so many things in life. And it's, like I said, the easiest thing to do is just to quit, stop. It's easy. Everybody can quit. To fight through all the adversity, to fight through all the no's, to go broke 7 different times, to mortgage your house, to put up all your money, to take loans out for millions of dollars. To do that takes balls and shows that you really want something. And that's really what you have to do. I think to be a real success in life, you mentioned a risk. It's risk versus reward, right? Is the risk big enough for the reward? And there's no bigger reward I can get in life than to, listen, we're creating something that nobody's been able to do. The last person that did this is the UFC. They created a sport from nothing and made it a worldwide phenomenon. Now this will be our 11th country that we're doing a bare knuckle fight in. I mean, we started in a warehouse. You got to put this in perspective. 25% of this room, a little tiny warehouse, one fight, 8 people in the room. That's where we started this journey. One fight, 8 people. Now we're selling out arenas all over the world. So it's don't quit. Now listen, if you if everything's against you and it's just not working and there is no end in sight, you got to quit, because if not, you're going to lose all your money and you got nowhere to go. I saw that people wanted this. So when I knew that they wanted it, when I knew that there was a fan base for this thing, I knew that quit was not an option for us. So we just kept going. We found a way. Like I said, borrowed money, did whatever we had to do to keep this thing going. People, when we can tell the story, I think people will be amazed at the journey we really had to go through. It's not the right time to tell the full story yet, but when we do, I think people are going to be like, holy shit, you had to go through that, man. Holy shit. Like, it's really, truly an unbelievable ride, an unbelievable journey. And without some of the best people, that I've ever met in my life, to be in my life right now and to push this thing forward, it wouldn't have made it. Surround yourself by the right people. That's what I'm really trying to say. Like, have balls and surround yourself by the right people. Because, listen, I always say this, like, you can hang around a shit person, right?
Yeah.
And you leave that shit person, you still smell like shit because you hung around the wrong person. You gotta really pick and choose who you hang with and who you choose to go through that journey with.
Agreed. I believe having a small circle of good people is much better than having a large group of friends who.
Yeah, I always say, would you rather have 4 quarters or 100 pennies, right?
It's a great way of putting it.
Well, and you guys might not know that in the United States, quarters are 25 cents. Sorry, and 100 pennies is right. I'd rather have 4 quarters.
Yeah.
All day long.
100%.
How do you balance keeping the sport authentic while marketing to a large audience?
It's just because they want to see the real. They want to see the back in the day type of fighting. This is where everything started. And we just had to find a way to modernize it, to make it more fast paced. Everybody in today's society has ADD, right? They pay attention to their phone. They're talking, like, say we went out to dinner, we'd be talking and be checking our phone 100 times, right? It's just society now. So we got to give them something that's enough for them to pay attention to, that's fast-paced enough for them to not turn their head, and that's what this thing does.
That's great.
Amazing. Now, I wanted to ask you, if you could sign any fighter in the world to BKFC right now, who would you sign?
It's a fight. I mean, my fight I wanted before was I wanted Tyson Fury to come over. I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely want Tyson Fury to come over, but there's a lot of fights we're really looking at. But, I mean, really, like, the fight I would love to make would be Conor McGregor versus Ili Topuria, take the gloves off and throw that thing down in bare knuckle. Like, that's probably one of the biggest fights that I think that we could make. There's a lot of different fighters out there that I think I fit this style. We got guys at the fight tonight like Joseph Parker, like Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk is coming. Like, these kind of guys I think would be tremendous for bare knuckle fighting. And listen, 7 years ago, people would have thought I was smoking crack when I said we're going to get these big fighters. Listen, in the next 2 years, we're going to get every big fighter in the world fighting for BKFC.
That's amazing, man.
If you can make a dream fight, any fighter, dead or alive, in bare knuckle boxing, who would the 2 fighters be?
Probably do Mike Tyson, right? Like, who wouldn't want to see Mike Tyson take his gloves off and crack somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's something you got to see. Yeah. And who we put him against. I think because we're modern day right now, I think Mike Tyson, 3 years back, Mike Tyson versus Tyson Fury would have been a hell of a fight.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Who would you bet on?
Mike Tyson, of course.
Mike Tyson, I'd bet on him, but Tyson Fury has got a much wider reach.
I mean, listen, how about when Deontay Wilder really basically knocked out Tyson Fury and he got up from it, like The Undertaker?
He literally resurrected
Who does
himself.
that? Who does that?
That's what you're saying about not quitting. Tyson Fury,
Yeah,
he was there, he didn't quit, and he came back.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he had a reason why, And I think it's very important in life that people have whys. And why are you going to risk everything, right? Like, your why has to be strong enough. And I'm not going to go into what my why is, but when your why is strong enough, nothing will ever stop you.
And I don't know if you mind me asking, because you just said you won't go into it, but what is your why?
really, I mean, my why is, fucked up childhood and proving them wrong, and my team. My team, my family, my wife, my son, my daughter. Like, they're my why, because I got to show them that as, you know, as hard as life hits, you can't fold, you can't quit, you got to keep moving forward. I have a good saying in life that says, and we were talking about this last night, adversity introduces a man to himself, right? Like, when you're winning, when you're on top of the world, you don't really find out who you are. When you fall and you have to get back up, that's when you find out who you are and what you're made of. And I think that's really the why. The why is because I want to teach everybody that your story doesn't have to end when you get knocked down. Your story doesn't have to end when people are telling you no and when you should quit. Your story ends when you think it should end.
Yeah.
What role do high-profile fighters like Conor McGregor play in expanding BKFC's brand?
I mean, there's so many, but at the end of the day, like, it's tough with Conor because, like, Conor, in my mind, he's like the Beatles. He's like an icon. He's not a star or superstar. Stars they walk down the hallway and they got 20 people wanting to take a picture with them. Superstars have 100. Conor McGregor has 10,000. He's just different. And why I'm saying that is, as much as he's pulling fighters over, when they come over, he goes, "Oh, I'll fight him. He's not as good as me." And then he kind of chases them away at the same time, because he brings them in because they say, "Hey, man, Conor's a part of this. I want to be a part of this." But then he wants to fight everybody because, listen, that's his why. His why is he wants to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
And who else is a better example for me to partner with than a guy who everybody counted out, who had no shot in life, and he became one of the biggest superstars in combat sports history.
It's a bit of a double-edged blade.
Yeah, man.
100%. Do you see Conor fighting in BKFC in the near future?
If he fights for the UFC again, I 100% do. There's a chance that we don't ever see Conor fight again, ever. And if we see him fight in the UFC, 100% he will fight at BKFC. But he has a contractual obligation to the UFC. So if he does pick himself up, it's hard, man. Look, if you guys had hundreds of millions of dollars and you made more money not fighting now than you do fighting, why are you doing it?
Yeah, it'd be hard to return back to that lifestyle.
But his why is, again, he has to show people he's the best.
Yeah.
And they're all doubting him now. They don't think he's the best anymore.
So you're right, if his why is strong enough, then maybe he might get back into the ring.
Yep. So that's why I think we are going to see Conor McGregor fight again.
What's been the best piece of advice about business and leadership that you've ever heard?
I mean, just, I put this other quote up that says, people tell you no, people tell you you can't do anything because they can't do it, right? Take advice from the right people is all I'm saying is. Take advice from the people who have been there, who had the odds stacked against them. Because you're taking advice from guys who never went for anything, like all the, what do they call them, trolls or whatever they call them on social media, that tell you you can't do anything, you're nothing. And they never even walked outside the house, like, and went for something in their life. Like, they never got in a fist fight in their life. They never had to bet anything on themselves or, to try to succeed. So take advice from the right people. And I'm not saying I'm the right person, but let me tell you something. I've been punched on my face. I've been knocked down. I've been almost to the end of my life. So if you're going to take success from somebody that learned not to quit, that's the kind of person I think you need to take advice from. But just watch who you take advice from, because if you take advice from the wrong person, it's detrimental to you. It's the end.
Yeah, I agree, especially when people are trying to stop you succeeding. I believe a large factor of it stems from jealousy. If they know that themselves that they can't do it, they're not going to. A lot of people won't want you to do.
Jealousy is the devil.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into religion here. Jealousy is the devil. Envy is the devil, man. It is. And like, it's weird, man. As the company becomes more and more successful, man, I just want to hang with people that want to push me forward. Like, I'm not trying to hang with people that are tearing me down and people that are saying we're not going to make it. Like, I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to hang with the right people that are pushing you forward, that want to succeed in their life, right? Because I want to learn. Like, I want to hang with you because you succeeded, and how did you succeed? Teach me how to succeed. That's what I want to do. I don't want to hang and do the wrong thing and just be with the wrong person. So many naysayers in life now, so many people that want to see you fail. That's why I say pick who you're taking advice from. And really, really, best advice I can give is really, really pick your circle right. Choose your circle right. Because as I'm doing this journey, I let the wrong people in my circle, and I've learned from that.
With picking your circle, I agree. Like I said earlier, and like you said, you'd rather 25 cents than 100 pennies.
Yeah.
But me and Ariel, it's very rare to find someone who wants you to even do better than them. A lot of people are happy for you to do well as long as you're below them. But with me, I'm happy for Ariel to do infinitely better than me and vice versa.
That's
Very
great, man.
important.
That's great. Like I have a son. He's the chief operating officer of the company, and like, some people, like, I'm his father. I'm also the president of the company, right? And I want to, like, people think like I should be walking up here and he should be walking here. Like, I think that if you're a parent or you're a mentor or you're a leader in life, you should want to see the people with you, not walk behind you, not walk next to you. You want to see them walking ahead of you. You want to see them lead you eventually. And I think that's where the world really went wrong, because everybody wants to be number one, which is great. But you got to teach people, because you're the future. Like, you guys are the future, right? I'm could be your father, but you guys are the future. So why not encourage you guys? Why not teach you guys how to walk past me, and you guys lead the next generation? And I think that's where life is really messed up right now. And I think that's a big problem. But just I don't know why people don't encourage people more to be successful, man. But it's crazy. It's just the way the world is. But again, it goes back to choose your circle, man. Choose your circle.
I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion on modern day education? Because I'm in school right now. I've got exams in 2 weeks, but I definitely would rather be here than be in school right now.
And I dropped out because I was failing my
Yeah, man.
studies.
You know what, man? Honestly, and I could get a lot of lashback for what I'm about to say here, man. But it's a crazy thing, because, like, I say you got to go for it. Like, again, it's a risk versus reward. What do you want to do in life? What I really mean by that is, look, like, you want to do this, right? And you're probably going to school because going to school is your backup plan, right?
It's kind of
It's your plan B.
It's illegal. We're forced to
Right.
be in school.
It's what society tells you need to do.
Yeah.
Society tells you need to go to college because then you're going to get a job. Listen, my son, who we talked about, my son pretended to me he was going to college for 2 semesters, and he wasn't. He went to work. He went to the gym. He wasn't going to school. He lied to me for 2 semesters, and right now he's in the top 1% earners in the state of Pennsylvania. So, because he hustled. So, what I'm telling you here is, plan B is plan A. There is no plan B. So if you want to do something, you got to go for it. And I'm not telling you don't go to college, do this, because your gig's a hard gig to make a lot of money in. But the thing is what do you guys want to do in life, right? And you can always go back to school. You can always do that, but you can't always go for your dream.
When you said about plan B is just going to be plan A, I have a saying that I like to live by. One second. You miss every shot that you don't take. So I'd rather get told that it's a no than know it could have been a yes.
Of course, man. Of course. 100%, man. I agree with that 100%. But it's like, like at this whole journey, because I'm like, man, what if this thing fails, man? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And at the beginning, honestly, I had plan Bs. And as soon as I said, there is no plan B, man, put everything you have into this thing, that's when it took off.
And stick with it.
Yep.
100%. Well, I want to thank you, because this is actually our first ever podcast episode.
Nice.
And both of us, we've just started, put our mind to it, and we hope it does well. But we also are excited to see the future of BKFC. We're excited to see it become the biggest combat sport.
Well, guys, man, congratulations, man, really, because honestly, I thought that you guys have been doing this for a while. I didn't hear you guys, but I know that you guys, just by talking to you guys, I thought you guys had a well-established podcast. But for being your first podcast, it's definitely good. You asked some very good questions. But, you got me here for your first show. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I mean that in like, that took balls for you to ask me. So congratulations to you guys.
100%, man. And you were definitely, you were on a list of our dream guests. And we thought maybe in 2 years we might get you on, but we never expected to get you on so quick.
Well, I'm glad that I could come on with you guys, man. And I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man.